Hey guys, welcome to Bearcats Daily. I am your host, Blake Thornton, aka Swiss Roll. Want to welcome you all back. Want to give a special shout out to FanArch for making this video possible. Actually, making all our videos possible, really. It's a great partnership, and I'm excited to be here as always. And we've got a lot to talk about today for our Bearcats and the University of Cincinnati here on Bearcats Daily. Right now, their lawsuit with Brendan Sorsby is currently going through, due process, and they have filed to have it dismissed. The $1 million lawsuit, the defendants, Sorsby and his, attorneys, have asked to have that case dismissed on the grounds of it is simply a bullying tactic for him transferring out. That there's other contracts like his, and all this is because he just transferred out. Now, that's all fine and dandy. You can word it like that if you really think that that's the case, or you can look at how contracts work. He signed a 2-year NIL deal with the University of Cincinnati. He made over $850,000 for 2025 season. And in his contract, it states that if he were to transfer out, that he would have to buy out that deal for $1 million to go. Well, guess what? He left and goes to Texas Tech, signs a $5 million deal to go play. In his contract that he signed, it has that $1 million buyout, and they're fighting that and not paying it, and that's what brought the lawsuit about. So they're just trying to claim, oh, it's just bullying because I left, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, this is a contract that you signed. UC honored their end of the bargain, paying you what they said they would. And in the same contract that you then signed, along with them, it says if you leave, there's a $1 million buyout. I got bad news for these kids. When you sign these deals, that money is not just, oh, here you go, do whatever you want. It comes with strings attached, obligations you must fulfill to have earned that money. And it is going to become a problem moving forward that I think will continue to grow unless this thing is managed by the NCAA as a whole when it comes to NIL deals. Because right now schools can pay athletes directly, do not go through the third party. That has finally changed. But there's really no true structure. We know that they have an allowance. We've talked about that before on the show about what percentages are going to go. But it's really just throw money around, and then the schools are putting whatever they want in the contracts, which in this case was a buyout. So he's trying to get that to be dismissed, but I don't understand what the leg is to stand on. Now, this isn't meant to be a law discussion, but this is a very upfront problem right now for our Cincinnati Bearcats. If this sets the standard that you can sign whatever deal you want, and there's no repercussions if you find something better and just get out of Dodge, that's really not going to look good long term. And now that he's in trouble with sports betting, it really puts a light on our program and college football as a whole, because they don't screw around with gambling. I will give the NCAA that. They have been very clear on their stance on this for the last few years now, especially now that it's really grown. In 2023, the NCAA denied a proposal to allow student athletes and coaches to bet on professional sports. That's a key word, professional. No college betting, none, just professional. When they declined that proposal, they put in that if you have history and they can show you had $800 worth of sports bets, you are up for a 30% loss of season eligibility for that year. So if you get busted betting as a student athlete $800, you lose almost a third of your whole season. Just shy of a third, 30%. That's pretty steep. And yet there are guys betting. 2024, there was a quarterback banned for betting on his team. I think he played in the UFL. He played in a community college to finish, and then I think he went to the UFL. I can't think of his name. Somebody can drop that in the comments for me. I don't have that in front of me about who he was, but he lost his eligibility. And they made it clear as to set the precedent, basically. If you are caught betting on your own team, you're done. You are completely out of it. Your eligibility is stripped from you, and they won't tolerate it. And I 100% agree with it. That should be anything. If you are caught betting on any of your sports that you compete in at that level, that's a huge problem. Because now you look at some of the games from last year. The Nebraska game comes to mind quite a bit when this is discussed about, well, if he's betting here, who says he can't do this? And then it becomes very speculative, and that ball just keeps rolling. It gains momentum, and then you start seeing, all these signs everywhere. So it's a scary situation for the NCAA. Now, I'm not accusing him of point shaving. I'm not accusing him of doing something, to flip the score. But it just makes you wonder when you see some of these plays where you're like, what is he doing or thinking? They're in field goal range in the final minute of the game against Nebraska. And all of a sudden, Sorsby is going to just throw a bomb into double coverage with no leverage for the receiver. He was sandwiched. The safety was behind him, guarding the goal line. Corner was just in front. There was no window, and he just throws it up, gets picked, game over. It's just stuff like that where you start to wonder, what are they doing with this thought process? So the NCAA would rather just say, hey, you cannot bet at all, because now that keeps our hands clean of this and we don't have to worry about it, as has happened in some other leagues. Unfortunately, that's just not the case of what is really happening here. They have evidence that Sorsby was gambling for years. Okay. Not only did he bet multiple sports over these years, they have him betting on college sports. And even worse, allegedly, until this is released by the NCAA in the full investigation, I will say allegedly, he was betting on Indiana while he was there as a student. I believe he was a redshirt freshman. I don't think he was playing, but he was caught betting on his team. And per NCAA, that's a no-go. You are done. So if it comes out, Sorsby may never play another down in the NCAA, which is ironic considering the last down he will have played was for our Cincinnati Bearcats, even though he transferred out trying to make more money. Kind of funny how that would work. But this has become a huge problem for them. He was caught betting thousands of sports bets over the years. Now, he made almost $900,000. So when they released this, they threw in there that he was caught betting on pitches at a Cincinnati Reds game here in Cincinnati, and he was betting like $1 or $2 per pitch, basically. I don't know if he bet everyone, it was just per pitch. That, to me, has no relevance in this discussion. For them to throw that out there and be like, oh, he was doing this. I'm sorry. The guy made almost $1 million. If he wants to bet $1 or $2 on pitches at a baseball game in the professional level, still, I don't see it getting above the 800 unless that game is just a 20-inning game where they're throwing 300, 400 pitches. It's not the case, but if that's what happens, so be it. But yet they just throw that in there. Now, if they're trying to build a case for him to have, an addiction, like, oh my gosh, he had to do it. I'm sorry, I work in the gambling industry. I can promise you this. That is the least degenerate chain betting I've ever seen. $1, $2. People do that with with way less money in their pocket, but with bigger bets. But it works. They put it out there, and now it's come out that Brennan has gone into the treatment program. He has taken a leave of absence from tech, and he has gone into the rehab program for gambling. As of now, he can still return. They have not released that his eligibility is lost or anything of that case. It has not come out yet. And the NCAA won't talk about the investigation. I applaud that. No need to be putting stuff out that hasn't been confirmed until they figure everything out. But now it kind of backfires on UC, because USA Today Sports put out a report that UC was given notice in August of 2025, as early of August 2025, that he was sports betting. There is a app called Proebet. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. It's a compliance monitoring app that is flagging attempts by student athletes or coaches to access gambling sites and place illegal wagers. And by illegal, I mean just gambling. It tracks it. And UC was allegedly told before the start of the season that this was the case. And as we know, UC didn't do anything about it. So as we played the whole season, and nothing was done about it. Can that hurt UC in terms of, restrictions, punishments, things of that nature? And from my research, the NCAA can't really punish Cincinnati for it unless it is proven that in some way or shape it altered games. And Well, I don't think that's the case here at all. The problem with sports betting now is when things go wrong, a lot of people that watch sports start turning immediately, it's kind of weird that this happened this way and all of a sudden these bets changed and it changed the entire outcome. I'm just going to give an example. This is not an accusation of him, but it is something to think about when you see these things. We're playing Nebraska at the start of last season. UC at Nebraska playing in Kansas City. UC's driving. They're getting into field goal range, down 3 points with a minute left in the game. It's a solid drive. Sorsby's playing well. They're moving the ball. We're in good shape. All of a sudden, Sorsby throws a 40-yard bomb to the end zone into double coverage. There was no leverage for the receiver in this case. The safety was over top on the goal line, and we still had the corner in front. So our wide receiver is double covered. We got about 42 seconds left, and it's college. So if you get a first down, the clock stops while they reset the chains. So we're not in a rush here. And yet he throws just a deep bomb and gets picked off in a very crucial situation in the game. Now, that could have just been a mistake. We all do it. Nobody's perfect. They're student athletes. They're still young. They're going to learn. But things like that throughout a season where there's just certain things that go on that really change games, it can make you wonder. And as sports betting has grown, it's really starting to become an issue as a whole. So, what does the NCAA do about it? Well, there are multiple schools. Now, UC does not do this. I want to be clear. They have no partnerships as of now with sports books. But there are colleges who do. I know Colorado has one. Michigan State, LSU, and Maryland are some of the ones that already have partnerships with sports books like Caesars and PointsBet. They have advertisements up around the games, schools, commercials. So there are schools that are already profiting off of sports betting. They're advertising it, they're pushing it to help make money, and I'm sure it's millions of dollars that they make. But yet you're going to have the double standard of your student athletes and coaches not being able to use it. So is that really, is that a standard that should be set? I'll give our Bearcats have now removed alcohol sales from sporting events at UC starting in the fall of this year. This has not been the case prior, but announced at the beginning of April, UC would stop alcohol sales. Now, on a college campus, no alcohol. I don't see an issue with it. I don't. I think that's a safe decision, especially because a lot of, college kids we know don't really know how to, limit themselves when it comes to certain things. They will binge and have fun. They're living it up. It's college. So, okay, I can get on board with that, protecting the student athletes and students as a whole with that. But yet then you're going to go ahead and advertise sports betting. You're going to have partnerships, sponsors, make money off it. But if anybody that is involved with the school uses it, it's a problem. It's a very weird dynamic that I hope the NCAA will kind of change in terms of if we're not going to allow it, why are we advertising it? But they're making money, so I highly doubt that's the case. Because at the end of the day, college has become about making money. It's no longer about the degree. It's no longer about the schooling. Kids are going there to make money in sports. There are people who go for degrees that are there for the schooling. But let's be honest, with the NIL changes and the way the kids get paid, that's all they're worried about, and it's a shame. Because now you have these, I'm going to keep calling them kids. I know that's probably not the best way to do it, but these 18 to 22, 23-year-olds who are in college making thousands and thousands of dollars playing sports with access to gambling and other things, they're going to spend their money how they choose. Not all these kids are mature enough to handle having that much money, so they're going to do things. They're going to have fun. And with the way sports betting is so accessible these days, it's going to happen. So I hope they will look at themselves, and I have to ask you this, should the NCAA ban the partnering with sports books if you're not going to allow sports betting at all? If the players can't do it, I'm talking college. Professional, I have to, Lord knows every professional sport has the advertising signs, but if you go down to University of Cincinnati and you walk into a game and you see sports betting kiosks, signs for these apps to use and sports bet, but then you find out, well, if anybody's caught using it on anything, they're going to be possibly kicked out of the NCAA for no eligibility. I don't understand the double standard there. We're making money, but we don't want our people doing it at all. It's such a weird dynamic. I do like that UC is getting rid of alcohol sales for the games. That I'm probably in the minority with that, but just not big on alcohol, especially at a college thing. So I'm okay with that. But with all this being wrapped up with Sorsby now, it really just shines a very negative light moving forward. And there's got to be better ways to handle this. So we'll have to keep with this as we go. But I think the question I must pose to everyone, and I hope you'll put your thoughts in the comments on this, do we need to ban sports books from advertising to students? Advertising in college. We know they don't allow it. We know they have a hard rule with it, but yet we're going to advertise on it. So I hope y'all will consider that. I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments. You can tweet at me, Swiss Rolls Fury on X if you'd like. Just want to get some thoughts and opinions when it comes to this because it's an odd situation right now when you have a lawsuit for NIL money when a student is getting paid millions of dollars, signing contracts, and yet when they try to leave, they're not paying out. And now you've got betting involved. It just seems like every time betting gets involved, things go sour. So UC is not in any danger necessarily of getting stripped of wins or anything. All it's going to do is just put everything they do under a microscopic level lamp or eyeglass that is just going to stare at them over everything. And it's just not something we need. We have enough stuff. We're trying to move on, but yet this is just dangling. The lawsuit, the gambling, and I just hope they get rid of it. So in the meantime, y'all, it's a great time to be a football fan. We're starting to make that turn up. They're going to get 2 weeks off here soon, and then it's time, and then there'll be summer workouts, and then we get to camp. And when camp starts, things are really going to ramp up. So we'll keep track of this as we move forward. We'll look at how guys are doing as we begin this push, and I really can't wait to see what happens from there. Like I said, make sure you leave any thoughts, questions for me. I'd love to get a couple answered on the show. Until then, y'all, you have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.